Hey everyone, today I'm going to be talking about gratitude. Now, gratitude and being thankful for things has been proven to help with your internal state of happiness. So, being very grateful and thankful for things is very important. And this video was actually inspired by a person who recently posted on a website community called reddit.com. And this was a man who was 24 years old, and he was just, trying to help the world by sharing his message about what he thinks really important in life. Because apparently he's going to die in about 2 months from cancer. And so it was a very interesting story. I did a whole video on that. And long story short, he had his tie picked out for his funeral. He still had a sense of humor, which was great. Had rubber duckies on his tie, and he had some very interesting things to say about what's really important in life. Now, having said that, I want to really just share with you guys two things that you can do that I think if you repeat them as frequently as possible, especially the first one, on a daily basis, it will guarantee, I guarantee you, it will improve your level, your state of happiness, unless you're already doing it, which I doubt. It will improve your happiness state in the long run, if you keep consistent. So this is what it is. The first one is to write down all the things you are thankful for, and really, really take the time to find everything you're thankful for. And examples would be the food that I have on my plate that is delivered for me without my need to gather it or hunt it myself. Again, be detailed like I did. And another thing you'll notice I'm doing is like really fully appreciating all that goes behind it, and understanding all the things behind the food, because the more you learn about the world, the more you appreciate these things that you have that you take for granted. There are people starving, and there's people who have a very tough time just getting the most basic foods in front of them, and they're living in such poverty-stricken areas. And because it may be so far off for you, or you don't know enough about it in those other areas, learning more about these things can really help you be grateful for what you have. And so you can continue on this list. I'm grateful for the food, the clothing I have, the shelter I have. I'm grateful for a warm blanket and be able to sleep at night. I'm grateful for the fact that I'm currently healthy. I'm not cancer ridden. I can move. I have all my limbs, and I'm grateful that I wasn't born blind. I wasn't born without limbs. And again, for me at least, what makes it more powerful is that almost all these things I've said, there's multiple ties to real situations, or YouTube videos of speakers, motivational speakers who were born with no limbs, for instance, and went through a lot of bullying and suicide and depression, and now survived it all, and is a motivational speaker that travels the world and inspires millions. So that it's helpful understanding the deeper realm of what's going on with that. And what you'll notice here is you have to write it down. Writing it down, it's just something with there's this one experiment, scientific experiment done, where if you write down your goals, it's something that's the more frequently you do it and the more you write it down, you will do better than the people who don't write their goals, and you'll do much better than the people who don't have goals at all. So write down your goals as frequently as you can on a piece of paper and start visualizing it. And this gets into subconscious visualization, which there's a lot of mumbo jumbo magic in some self-help books about it. I think from a scientific perspective, it may just be something where it keeps reminding you about where you're going, so it constantly keeps realigning you towards where you should be moving in your life. And so those are just some things I have to say. Again, remember to write it down. Remember to do it at least once a day, maybe when you wake up and then when you go to bed, and then research like the deeper motives behind it. And it's a natural tendency for humans, as our standard of living rises, which constantly is going on because of just the amazingness of economic systems, that we start taking things for granted. From the entertainment at our fingertips, the films, the movies, the post-production, virtual reality gaming's coming up, the internet, technology, hearing aids, telephones, cell phones, being able to video chat with someone on the other side of the world. It's a natural tendency for us humans to just take all these things for granted because that was the standard which we were brought up with. Whereas if you just look back a decade or 2 decades or 5 decades, people would have killed for that technology. They would have paid millions of dollars for the cancer breakthroughs that have occurred in treatment and so forth, the advancements in prosthetic limbs, anything from the medicine that you take for your diabetes, for the entertainment that you have. I'm sure the Egyptian kings of long ago would have paid boatloads of gold just to see one of the best movies, or even just a mediocre movie made nowadays that's available to like everyone for like $5 per month. So keep that in mind, and it's very important. The second thing, I'm going to wrap this up because this video is getting kind of long. The second method that you can also use is this one you don't have to do as frequently, but it's been mentioned a few times, and it has to do with gratitude and really expressing it on a person-to-person basis. You can also do this with a volunteer organization or a homeless shelter. It doesn't have to be like a nonprofit thing. It could just be with like someone you really feel gratitude towards. And so here's the exercise. You find or figure out one person in your past that you've come into contact with who you express a great deal of gratitude for, that you have not really fully ever thanked properly, at least as much as you think they deserve to be thanked. And you know, if you really think about it, I'm sure there's one person or other, whether it's a teacher or a student or a person you just met briefly. Really think deeply about that. And what you can do is write out a letter just telling them why you're thankful for them, what it means that they were in that moment in your life for them. And write this letter and either send it to them, however, so that they actually get the letter and read it. And then from there, make sure at the end of the letter, you tell them, I would love to meet up with you. And don't give them the reason. Just say, I would love to meet up with you in the near future sometime. And then from there, if you get that meeting with them, hopefully you will, you can just chat with them and talk with them. And I guarantee you that in itself will help your level of happiness. That's all I gotta say. As always, like, favorite, comment, and subscribe. This is Will You Laugh? And I will see you guys later. Peace.